We're going to start off like normal, laying onto our backs. So find all that surface area of your back, returning down into the earth. Start to feel your breath flow deep and full, in and out. The intention that I've prepared for us today has to do with one of the very first and oldest stories of a lot of cultures. And it's how Adam and Eve first became a partnership. It was said that a rib was taken out of the side of Adam, and that was what created Eve. And to me, the deep representation that that's supposed to symbolize is that your partner in life is not meant to be a person that, you know, is completely ahead of you and just walks in front of you and they're so much more important than you. And they're also not supposed to be somebody that's behind you, that you look down on, and that they're only just kind of, you're just tolerating them. Instead, our partners through life, I see that as they're meant to be on our side, at our side ribs. And so as we travel through our class today, we're going to become much more aware of the side body, everything up to the shoulders, even down to the waist and the hip. We're going to become deeply aware of this whole side body. And in so doing, in gaining that awareness and that experience with the side of us, we can begin to understand what it's like to be at somebody's side. And it's not always necessarily the easiest thing. Sometimes there's a lot of vulnerability in this area of the side ribs. It's an area that our arms protect so that it's almost like we're shielding our heart from any sort of damage. And so it could be a very vulnerable spot to leave the side of ourselves open up to somebody else. But as we travel through this practice, imagine that we're learning how to be vulnerable, how to be open, and what it's like to be at the side. And so from there, with that idea, let's take the knees into the chest for just a moment so that we can rock the hips around. Starting to gain some awareness of the low back, maybe even rocking onto the sides of the hips just a little bit so that we can start to connect with that part of our side body. And then eventually we release the legs back down to the ground, stretch them long. And as the arms come up overhead, we're taking the shape of a banana. So the right ankle is going to cross over the left ankle. And then both legs shift off the left side of the mat. Up overhead, we hold on to the right wrist, and then we scoot the arms off to the left side. So everything's like a big banana off to that left side. And begin to connect with the side ribs right on the right side, opening, expanding. If you notice when we're in this pose, it's kind of hard to put your finger on it, but a lot of people don't like staying here for a super long period of time because the crunching of the lungs makes people feel just a slight fraction of panic. It's not, you know, a full-blown panic attack, but when people start to feel this vulnerability, this side stretching and the compressing of one of our lungs, they tend to feel just that slight bit of tension and panic. And so a lot of newbies to yoga don't understand what that's all about. And really all it is just the lungs taking on a different shape. And so instead of panicking and trying to get out of this posture, let's see if we can try to breathe and relax into this shape. So take a few extra deep breaths. The right lung is the one that's extra open on this side, so breathe into the right lung, even a little bit into the belly. Now with that slow breath, we're telling the body it's safe to be open on my side. So take another good breath in. And then with our exhale, release the ankle and wrist connections. Feel yourself evenly on the mat, the arms completely relaxed, and feel how any panic you may have just been experiencing, even if it was just a small percent, all of that's gone. We're open, we're receptive, we're comfortable again. Another deep breath in and out. And then we can start to head to the second side. Left ankle over, legs off to the right side of the mat. Up overhead, hold onto the left wrist and arms scoot off to the right side. And so now we begin to feel that deep opening through the left side body. So perhaps you feel it most intensely at the shoulder. Maybe you feel it in those intercostal muscles through the side ribs. Maybe down the waist or even into the hip, depending on what your tight areas are. So be aware with it, be conscious of it, and know that you can be passive here and receive a great stretch, or you can be active, taking little brief moments where you push against the two connections, the ankle and the wrist. So take one more wonderful inhale. A nice exhale, release. Return back onto your mat, a nice open shape with your arms and your legs. And receive into your body another wonderful inhale and a good relaxing exhale. Wonderful work. Slide both feet in, planting the feet close to the glutes. The right leg gets a brief opportunity stretching up to the sky. So clasp your hands onto it, gently pull in, and perhaps take some nice ankle rolls, just a kind of opening for the body. From here, we take this right ankle onto the left thigh. Arms hug around that left side for a brief moment. Feel the hip opening. A really good stretch. And then we release our hands. That left foot is back onto the ground. The legs stay in the unit that they're in already. They simply tilt all the way over to the left side. So what this does, instead of pulling onto the upper half of the body into that vulnerable side body stretch, now we're pulling the lower half of the body into the stretch. It's a slight twist, a slight lifting and opening of the hip. So just feel what this is like for you. Know that you can make this pose easier if it's too much right now by letting the legs swing a little bit closer to the base of the mat. Or if you want to make it deeper, you can swing both legs closer to the shoulder. So you have complete control over this pose. And feel this part of the hip and the low back and the spine starting to embrace that vulnerability, starting to build the awareness of that, even that part of the side body. Take another wonderful breath. As that exhale completes, you can release the cross of the right ankle and return the feet into the bridge pose prep. Let's even rise up into a nice bridge pose. Press the feet into the earth. Feel the hips lift and hips lower back down. Left leg all the way up to the sky. Clasping on. Pull it in, feel that nice stretch. Our ankle rolls, what would be most helpful here? that an option. Take left ankle up onto right thigh, give it a brief hug. Wonderful work. Here, when we release our hands, the right foot's back onto the ground, and then both legs get their chance to tilt over to the right. Remember, you can make it easier scooting down or deeper, scooting the legs up. So find the perfect amount of opening for this very low side body. Enjoy another really good inhale. A nice exhale. Uncross the legs. Return hips back to the ground. Plant the feet, and let's lift the hips up to another wonderful bridge pose, maybe lifting higher than the first. Rolling back down. Take the thighs in so that we can roll like a ball a couple of times. And maybe try out rocking a little bit more through the right part of the back, and then a little bit through the left part of the back, just to build some awareness. And then with the third one, go right through the center. We come up, take a couple of breaths into cobbler's pose. With our lift, release the legs into a simple cross-legged shape. We plant the right hand to the right. The left hand circles up and over, getting those side ribs to stretch out for us once again. You don't have to touch the right elbow to the ground, but you are allowed to bend it as long as you don't lift up the left hip. Bring that left hand behind the back of the head. And then 3 times pull the elbow as far back as it can reach. And then gently round down, trying to touch the elbow to the knee. This helps us build awareness of all sorts of muscles that are connecting through that side body area. Eventually, you're taking your third set. And so as you finish that, gently rise up and begin to melt over to the left side. Right hand is welcome to reach up and over. We pause with a simple length for a few breaths. Hand starts to make its way behind the head. And then we can trace our 3 wonderful circles. Pull the elbow back and gently round it down. Taking 2. And 1. Rising up as we complete that third cycle. We're still in a cross-leg shape. We'll take a moment for neck and shoulders to continue opening that, because in that becoming more expansive, there's more space for this whole area to continue to stretch. So start to extend the left fingertips floating off to that left side as you drop the right ear over the right shoulder. You have an option to take the right hand and rest it on the top ear, but you don't have to have it there if it weighs the head down a little bit too much. And you're welcome to be in stillness right here, or you can gently rock your head out, almost like we're trying to milk all those muscles out, taking all the tension out of that area. So if I'm milking the shoulder out, what I tend to do is tilt the head slightly behind the shoulder as the jaw goes up, and then tilt the head slightly in front of the shoulder as the jaw goes down. Gently working through all those muscles that connect up to the shoulder and up to the neck. From here, take your time rolling the chin all the way down into the chest. We're stretching through the back part of the neck. Head returns up. Right fingers reach off to that right side as the left ear goes over left shoulder. Maybe you find a few breaths at the beginning just to begin to elongate the muscles. And maybe those gentle rocking motions feel amazing for the neck, so you're welcome to transition toward those. When you're ready, begin to roll the chin into the chest, stretching through back of the neck again. The head rolls up. Take the right hand behind your back and grab that right hand onto the left elbow behind you. So the left arm's just off to our side, the right hand swung all the way around and grabbed onto the elbow. As soon as you've got that grip, you're welcome to start dropping the right shoulder back down, getting a new stretch through the shoulder area with this clasp. Head returns back up, release, and switch it out. Left hand goes behind the back to grab onto the right elbow. When you're there, right ear can drop down. Good, release. The bottoms of the feet come together and they slide as far away as they can while still being in contact. Take a few breaths just simply rounding the spine forward, starting to get the stretch all the way up the vertebrae. The left hand slides to the left knee and the left arm straightens. As it works towards straight, the nose naturally goes over the right knee. Feel the stretch of the muscles that are on the side of our back, even exposing that part of our partnership. So from here, bring the right hand to the right knee, straighten the right arm, and the nose goes over the left knee. Okay, back through the center again. Start to roll the spine up, and then from here, both legs begin to open out to a wide shape. If it's difficult to sit in this wide shape, you can either grab something to sit on, like a block, or you can have the knees be a little bit more bent. So from here, the right hand is on the ground, or if you can get the right elbow on the ground, the hand is welcome to support the weight of the head so that the left arm is able to stretch up and over for the right toes. Okay, drop this left hand down. The right hand frees its way to the outside of the right leg. And then let's take this nice stretch up and over the right leg. Press into the hands to start to rise back up. And then we switch the sides. Left hand is down, maybe left elbow. If so, the head can be in the hand. And then stretch up and over. Getting those side ribs to really stretch out for us once again. And perhaps from this shape, you can even feel this connection of the side body into the sacrum. For some people, it's the sacrum that's the limiting factor in stretches. And so we can start to loosen up in a good way. Just a gentle tug on those ligaments and the muscles connected to that area. Good. Eventually the right hand drops down, left hand frees its way to the outside of left leg, and take that brief stretch over this leg. Okay, when we return back up, we're coming to a kneeling place. Take a few of our cat-cows, but know that you can have extra movements that feel good. Maybe even shifting the ribs all the way to the right and all the way to the left. So move the spine freely in ways that feel helpful, up and down, side to side, maybe any other intuitive directions that feel nice as well. Good. Eventually we come up to a nice high kneeling place. Our right leg swings open to that right side on the ground. And from here, we'll alternate 5 cycles between 2 positions. So we start off with the right hand sliding down that right leg. As soon as it's as far as it can go, the left hand circles up and over to get that really good side body stretch. Once you take your next inhale, it naturally floats you back up, and we head over into a half moon position, kneeling half moon. So the left hand is planted to the left side, and then we can float the right leg up. Returning back up, going for 4 more cycles. Slide the right hand down, reach over to the right, and then returning, kneeling half moon. Heading toward 3. And 2. And 1. Great work. When the right foot's back down, plant the hands on the ground in front of you. Maybe even drop down onto your elbows. For me, this stretch is one of those stretches I would consider to be very delicious because it gets me very good into some of the hip side openers, even into the inner thigh a little bit. So just enjoy this breath for a few more moments. Okay, we're back up on our hands. We rise all the way up. Let's take it to the second side. Left leg goes long. When you're there, we start our 5 cycles, sliding left hand down. Right hand reaches for the side body stretch. Circle back up, plant the right hand, float the left leg, kneeling half moon. Rising back up. We're going for 4. Do a nice exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale to plant the hand. Inhale, return. Here's 2. And 1. Awesome. When we're back up, drop down onto your hands, maybe onto your elbows. Enjoy another huge inhale. A great exhale. And then we start to rise. When we drop this knee back down, we prepare for a nice downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. Take a few breaths to just pedal out things that would feel helpful to continue opening up the muscles of the body. And then perhaps you even want to play with both heels shifting to the right and both heels shifting to the left. Just playing with how that pulls on the side body just slightly deeper. Keep on going until you feel satisfied with how your body is. And then when you reach that point, we make our way up to a nice standing forward fold up toward the top edge of the mat. The legs are lengthening, the body is sinking deep. Really wonderful opening. Let's use our next inhale to help us rise up to the sky, maybe a slight arch back. And then hands down to the heart. Dropping the left hand to the left side. Reach the right arm up and over so that we can lean to that side body. Rising up, right hand down, left hand over. Good. Rising up, clasp your hands up overhead. Reach the hands up so there's lots of length and pull on the whole waist. A nice inhale, even more height. Exhale, find the hips shifting to the right and both arms leaning to the left. Inhale, back up straight. Pull it long. Exhale, sink to the other side. Hips counter the lengthening of the arms. Reaching all the way back up. Release the hands. Circle them back up to the sky. And from here we head into a moment with a nice forward fold. Inhale, half lift, long spine. Exhale, hands trace back down to the ground. Right foot lunges to the back of the mat. And we drop the right knee down to the ground. When we're in this shape, hands come up to this left thigh. And we sink the hips forward. As we're in this shape, circle the arms up, right by the ears, shoulders dropping down. And then we take a similar side body stretch to what we just did a moment ago. Drop the left hand down, finding that back thigh. And then lean this right hand over to the left side. Rising both arms up, drop the right hand down to rest on that back thigh, and then lean the left hand over to the right side. Good. Circle both arms back up. Drop the arms down to the ground. Take that moment with the front leg going straight. And then step this leg back into kneeling plank or full plank if you wish. Strongly lower yourself down to the ground, building that simple strength. Back bend of your choice does not have to be super deep, but feel yourself gazing over one shoulder and over the other shoulder, creating that extra length through opposite side body. And then sit the hips back for a moment into child's pose. From child's pose, start walking the hands off the left edge of the mat. Walking the hands back onto the mat, and then take it off to the second side. Walking hands back onto the mat. Rising up, from here we step the right foot forward. We walk the hands up onto that right thigh, and then sink the hips forward. Arms circle up to the sky, shoulders pressing away from the ears. Drop the left hand down and lean the right arm to the left. Circle back up and switch sides. Right hand down, then lean to the right. Good. Reaching back up to the sky. Take a nice inhale. Exhale, front leg goes straight. Drop the hands down. And step this front leg back, kneeling plank or full plank. Try to lower all the way slowly to the ground. Elbows are squeezing in. Back bend only as deep as you wish to go. Take a moment to go over the right side and gaze over the left side. Then shift back, child's pose. Once again, walk the hands off the left side. And then off the right side. Good. When we return the hands onto the mat, tuck the toes, lift the hips up high. Take this down dog for a moment, even if that means wiggles, or maybe play with both hips or both heels going left and right a few times. The play movements or whatever feels kind and helpful to the body. At some point, making our way back up to the top of the mat. Enjoying that forward fold. Circling arms through the sides, stretch up, arch back. Hands to the heart. From here, standing on the right foot, take a brief moment to float the left leg. Sometimes this means that the toes are still kind of on the ground. Sometimes we can bring that knee up to a nice 90-degree angle. Take an inhale. Exhale, kick it back through a warrior three shape. Again, this can be a high angle, the toes barely on the ground behind us, or maybe we're tilting to 90 degrees. Land that back foot, the feet are in the shape of warrior one. Hips are forward, front knees bent. Sweep the arms up to the sky. Just a brief lean, this time adding in a slight bit of a twist with it. We drop the right hand down to the back leg. Gaze over the right shoulder, twisting and spiraling the spine as we spiral this top hand over. Reaching up, take an inhale. And then exhale, open up your body into warrior two. So that right knee is still bent. If the knee starts to go past the toes, just widen the stance a bit. Drop the right elbow onto the thigh. Left arm gets to stretch up overhead. Reach it to a nice long angle so you get that entire stretch all the way up the hip, the side ribs, and up the shoulder. Take a nice inhale. Exhale, spiral back up, warrior two. Left hand drops down lightly onto that left leg. And right hand begins to take that similar stretch all the way behind us. Remember this front knee, that right one is still bent. Take another good inhale. And exhale, spiral back into warrior two. Now we get to straighten the front leg and we take triangle pose. We reach the fingertips forward to help tilt the pelvis. And from that tilt, then we can drop the right hand down. It can be on the thigh or the shin, not the knee. Left hand up to the sky. Feel how even here, we're not trying to collapse the waist areas. Rather, we're finding length through the spine. So that means picking this right side up and almost feeling like there's extra length going all the way up the side ribs into the arm. Either stay here in triangle pose or take a brief moment transitioning into half moon pose. So you can rise up to bend that front knee a little bit and then cartwheel down into half moon. And then we gently return the back leg back down. We shift open into pyramid pose, so we need to shorten the stance just a little bit so that we can face the hips back up to the front of the mat. Both feet are solidly on the ground. If we've got one heel lifting, shorten the stance even more. Hands are at the hips. Lengthen your side waist as you begin to lean forward. When we're about halfway down, hands can slide down to the thigh, down to the shin. Occasionally, there's people who can make it down to the floor. Maybe a few wiggles of the ribs to the left and to the right so that you can feel that length, and then try to straighten the spine, engaging into the length. Slide the left foot next to the right foot. We're in a nice forward fold. Second side, reach all the way up to the sky, arch back, and hands down to the heart. So for the second side, we're standing on the left foot. The right knee starts to float. Remember, it can be any amount. Another inhale. And then exhale, start to kick it back. Warrior three. Gently land. The feet are in the shape of warrior one, front knees bent. Hips are squaring toward the top of the mat. Sweep the arms up to the sky. That slight twist, left hand goes down to that back leg, and then spiral the spine as you gaze over that left shoulder very gently. Reach back up, inhale. Exhale, open your hips to the other side, warrior two. Left hand onto left thigh. Right arm gets that chance to lengthen the whole area of the side ribs into the stretch. Rising back up. And we drop Right fingertips onto the right leg and stretch all the way back. Remember, the front knee stays bent here. It's natural for you to just kind of take your bend out of it since we're leaning backwards, but don't let that happen. Another wonderful inhale. Exhale, return. Now the front leg gets to go straight. We reach forward to help tilt the hips. And from that tilt, we can drop the right hand down, the left hand up. Other way, left hand down, right hand up. That's where we're at. You're welcome to either stay here or lift the arms up for a moment so that you can take a slight bend to the front knee, cartwheel into a moment with half moon pose. Take a gentle landing. And then we all lift up. We square our hips to the top of the mat as we scooted that back foot in just slightly, enough to square the hips forward. Hands are at the hips to make sure hips don't go off to any weird angles as we start to go forward. They stay pointed directly to the direction in front of us like headlights. And then we begin to lengthen the side ribs as we lean forward. At the halfway point, we can rest hands onto thigh, maybe onto shin, maybe floor. Once again, maybe wiggle your ribs left and right a few times to build some awareness of those ribs, and then lengthen the spine as if we're trying to create space into the ribs rather than let them crunch together. Take another really good inhale. Another exhale. And then inhale, slide the back foot forward. We're in that nice standing forward fold. Slide the hands up the legs. So that half lift, straightening of the spine. Exhale, sliding back down, plant the hands. Step walker, jump the feet into plank or kneeling plank. Squeeze the elbows into lower down, chaturanga. And we stay on our bellies for a moment. Reach the right arm off to the right side. Plant the left hand under the left shoulder. And begin to press into that left hand so that we can feel ourselves stretching the right shoulder. Head can simply rest down. We're only lifting up enough to stretch the right shoulder. Occasionally there's people who like to plant the top foot behind you. That peels the body open into even more of a spiral shape. So if that feels good, take it. If not, leave it. Returning the hips to the ground, we take the second shoulder. So this is left arm off to the left side. Right hand is under the right shoulder so that we can press into it. Maybe we're simply working on stacking the hips. Maybe that top leg is able to rotate behind our back. It's just up to your shoulder how much it's willing to take right now. Enjoy a good inhale. Exhale, belly returns to the earth. We press into the back bend of our choice. Does not have to be deep if you don't wish. But again, look over one shoulder, feel that spiral. Look over the other shoulder. And then start to shift the hips all the way back into child's pose. This time, maybe the knees go extra wide so that as we take one last lateral stretch through the child's pose, we're able to really walk the fingertips far. This time, let's walk our fingertips off to the right edge of the mat first. If at all possible, try not to go so far that your head cannot still drop to the ground. We are wanting to rest it if at all possible. Occasionally, as I'm in this stretch, the last thing I love to do to help deepen it is to take the left hand on top of the right hand and then thread my fingers together. From that shape, I'm pulling the left side just an inch deeper than it maybe wanted to go originally. And so here, find the head resting, try to breathe. We've got just a few more rounds of breath to go. Release the hands, walk the hands or even just the elbows through the center. Eventually walking them off the left side of the mat. Perhaps you can cross the right hand onto the left hand, threading the fingers for this long side body stretch off to the left side this time. And as we release, return into a normal forward-facing child pose. This gives our spine a beautiful last chance to just be reminded what the straightforward alignment is. We've been doing many side bend activities to open up all those muscles. And so now from all the length that we've created, feel your spine returning to this erect, straight alignment. Eventually, we're ready to come out of child pose. So find yourself coming all the way down onto your back right away. And as you find your muscles releasing back into this flat plane, ask your body if there's any last kind movements that we can give it. Maybe this is a twist. It could look like happy baby pose. Just keep on playing around for a little while, helping to open up things that are stiff and tight. Continue these movements until your body feels absolutely ready to release into whatever Shavasana is perfect for your body today. In the Shavasana shape, consider that idea of partnership once again. What did it feel like being in our side body? Imagine you had support through your side the whole time, just like you were feeling the stretches through the side. And notice within yourself, what prevents partnership? Is it you allowing somebody to be at your side? Are you more comfortable forward? Are you more comfortable behind? What would it take for us to allow ourselves to be right at the side of others? And maybe imagine gathering all of humanity into a huge circle where every person you could possibly imagine is right there at your side in this gigantic circle together. So simply breathe and relax with this visualization for a few more minutes. Begin to deepen inhales and exhales. Introducing little movements back to fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. Stretching out like we're waking up first thing in the morning. Eventually rolling over to a nice fetal position on one side. Perhaps enjoy a few extra bonus breaths here, simply relaxing, coming back into our body. Noticing one side of our ribs touching down to the earth and the other side pointing up to the heavens. Only when you feel ready, we return up to a comfortable seated place. Joining our hands together in front of the heart. Feel the elbows floating away from the side ribs rather than crunching us in tight. Feel that spaciousness in the side ribs. Feel the length of your spine pulling up. And notice our breath expanding the ribs out. This is that expanded state. This is where our partnerships can eventually become is much more expanded rather than contracted. So today with us considering the partners we have and trying to let them be right at our sides. With this idea to lead us on, let's wrap up the time we got to share together with the sound of Om. Inhaling now. Om. May we be filled with light and happiness and peace. Namaste.